Everybody, welcome to 10-4 Broadcasting here. We are live at iRacing SuperSpeedway. I am Will, joined by my co-host Mike. Mike, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. Yourself?
Oh man, doing great. Another action-packed race here at the Max Graphix Superspeedway series here. They are taking on iRacing SuperSpeedway. Man, as an iRacer yourself, how exciting does this track make you?
Oh, remember running this game on this track actually on NRO3 a little bit. I only ran it maybe once or twice, but not really fond about it.
Right, right. I think a lot of drivers kind of feel have the same sentiments as you. This track can eat you up and spit you out. It is a tough one for the boys. As we're taking a look at qualifying here, this is Chris Darling running around, and then this is Stan Hausman right behind him. We spoke with Chris on our Countdown to Green show here at 10-4 Broadcasting. We also have our last week's winner, Jason Shu, right there running in that three car. Man, that three car looks nice. Also got that '07 car there. This is week 8 of the Max Graphics Super Speedway series here. We are live every Wednesday at 8:30, bringing you all this iRacing action here. As we take a look at qualifying here, the boys are trying to get their best position to start the grid here at iRacing Super Speedway. And Mike, what are some of the things you're looking forward to here tonight in the booth?
Looking forward to seeing kind of action these guys can put down. We know that this track has no restrictor plates, so that's also another key in this Xfinity series.
Oh yeah, I heard during our Countdown to Green show, I believe it was Nathan Maurer. He was talking about how they're running a different setup here tonight. So I'm curious to see how that shapes up to have any differences in the racing. We always see competitive racing out of these drivers in the Max Graphics Super Speedway series here. It's always competitive. We actually had another photo finish last week, Mike, so I can only imagine what we're going to have here tonight.
I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Oh man, and what do you think makes it so challenging? As we're taking a look at qualifying here, we'll curious to see how many boys actually decide to put up a run here before the green flag drops. What makes iRacing Super Speedway so difficult or so unique than the other super speedways that they might run in the series?
Well, from Daytona and Talladega, you do have restrictor plates at those tracks. Um, Here you do not. I know you said that they're running a different setup. I don't know how much of a difference it's going to be. Looks like the times are definitely faster than what I was expecting. Um, the one key is the drafting. Is the drafting going to be more of a key than it would be at another normal weekend?
Yeah, taking a look at those degrees on those corners, man, those are some of the biggest corners I've ever seen.
Oh, definitely. These
I mean,
are definitely high banks. I know the fastest way around the track is the high side from previous experience, but again, when you're in a draft, I think it's going to be the low side. It's going to make them the move.
we shall see. We'll see if our points leader Nathan Maurer can hold it down again. I feel like if he can pick up maybe another victory or two here towards the end of the season, he might have this thing all signed up and delivered for him in this championship. And we might be over with qualifying here. We'll see if another car takes the track here before the green flag drops. But if not, man, we are in for some action-packed racing here on 10-4 Broadcasting, coming to you live on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Right, bringing you the Max Graphics Super Speedway series. These are drivers out of the National Sim Racing Association. Definitely go check them out. We had their commissioner, Chris Darling, on our Countdown to Green show earlier this evening, and he was kind of giving us a good rundown of what the league's all about and how long he's been doing it. And he really gave a lot of gracious thoughts to the people that kind of laid the groundwork for him. But he was mentioning that he's actually been in the sport 20 plus years, so good on him for keeping that streak going.
Definitely, that's another key things, and these broadcasters and like we do here, and then the league owners. That is definitely if as long as you keep it going, you still have active people, showing up every week, whether it's you're sick or whatnot. I know one of the broadcasters here is on well, sending his condolences out for not being here. but hopefully tonight will be put on a good show for him.
Oh yeah, we are excited here at 10-4 Broadcasting, Mike, and I appreciate you joining me in the booth here. Tim had a loss in his family, so he is off dealing with that, and we send all our positive thoughts and stuff to him and his family tonight as well. And man, Mike, you are in for a treat here tonight as the green flag is about to drop here at iRacing SuperSpeedway series or iRacing SuperSpeedway. I get a little confused saying that because it's just like our Max Graphix SuperSpeedway series. So, and I think my pick for tonight, Mike, it's a lot of great drivers on the board here. I'm gonna have to go with maybe last week's winner, and that's Jason Shu right there in the 5th position. He really ran good last week, and looking back on his run here, I believe it was either week 3 or week 4 at iRacing SuperSpeedway, he actually was running in the lead with Stephen Ford until he got knocked down pit road as they were coming around turn 4. So if there's anybody that can dominate here at iRacing SuperSpeedway, I think it is going to be Jason Shu in that number 3 car.
I know I haven't been active since last, in this series, so I don't know as far as the faster guys who's the underdogs. I always pick the underdogs, to be honest with you. At Super Speedways, anybody can win.
Yes, sir. It is March Madness, so it is underdog season for everybody. So I don't blame you for picking the underdog right now. As we take a look at this starting grid here, we got Christopher Darling starting P1, Stan Hasman starting P2, Joshua Sobel back in the field starting P3, Jeff Wyatt in P4, Jason Shu in P5, Shane Ward in P6, Nate Maurer in P7, Doug Neal in P8, P9 is going to be George Burns in that 07 car. P10 is going to be Ben Mashburn, and bringing up P11 is going to be Garrett Gleason, ladies and gentlemen. And this green flag is about to drop here at the Max Graphix Superspeedway Series. Man, we are in for a treat. I am excited to see who is going to take this green flag and take this victory here tonight. The pace car pulled off. It's going to be Chris Darling leading the field to take this green flag as we start the race here at iRacing SuperSpeedway, Week 8 of the Max Graphix SuperSpeedway Series. Let's go racing!
Outside lines getting faster, as we can see right off the start. 93 followed by, I believe, yep, that was the 86. Well, how about the coincidence? We're running iRacing SuperSpeedway with the old 86 car.
Ooh, lots of speed coming off that first corner there. It's still Chris Darling on the inside. Joshua Sobel is back in the field here tonight. Good to see him back racing with the boys. He is in P2 right behind Chris Darling. He has found his teammate right there underneath. And we'll see if Ben Mashburn can climb back up there to work with his favorite partner. That is Chris Darling in that 11 car as they're coming around 4. It's still Chris Darling leading Joshua Sobel right behind him. But a lot of speed, as you mentioned, Mike, at a Stan Hasman in that 39.
I think we've seen the 78 car falling back just a little bit. You don't want to lose the pack too much, especially in these Xfinity cars, because they're not like the Cup cars where you suck up so much.
Would you say it's more difficult to run a single file here at iRacing SuperSpeedway than per se another SuperSpeedway?
I would say yes. It's very hard to run single file. As you see, the 86, trying to stay behind the 93 there, but getting in that corner, it just shoots them right up the track. It's all that speed you're taking into the corner.
Talk about speed. We're seeing Stan Hasman in that 39 with a lot of speed on that outside lane there. But we're seeing, is that Ben Mashburn back up there with his buddy in that 24 car? It might be Ben Mashburn right behind Joshua Sobel in that 56. They are trying to build up a tandem there on that inside lane there as Stan Hasman is trying to work on that outside lane there, trying to build up some speed as they're digging down into 3.
Meanwhile, going down the front stretch, 93 is on that bumper to 24.
big speed out of that 24 and the 93. As you were mentioning, Mike, they're coming down the backstretch here. I thought we were going to see I love this camera view here, brought to you by 10-4 Broadcasting here. This is the first person point of view here. Taking a look at the back bumper of Ben Mashburn here in that 24. You really see how the boys kind of give and take, know when to bump, know when to run, know when to make those moves. But we are seeing that tandem kind of work together there at the top between Joshua Sobel and Chris Darling and Ben Mashburn up here. I feel like if they, another nice little push there from the back from Stan Hausman in that 39 as we take a look at this in-car camera view brought to you by 10-4 Broadcasting.
And we hear them getting off the gas on entry, seeing as how they're going very fast speeds, 231, 227, I'm seeing 240 on the speed charts here. Lap times are about 45.2s, which are looking pretty fast.
Very fast indeed. We have yet to see a caution yet in lap 6 here at iRacing SuperSpeedway. It is still Chris Darling is your race leader. Joshua Sobel, a veteran here at the National Sim Racing Association, is in P2 right behind him. It seems like they have found a groove on that inside lane. They have found the Emperor's new groove there at the inside lane there, and they have found that way to victory. We are only 6 laps into this Max Graphix SuperSpeedway series here, and I am sure we are in for some more fireworks, Mike.
Definitely. Looking at the speed charts again, 240 miles an hour. Normally at Talladega, you're nowhere near that speed.
It must be that new motivation. It must be that hunger to win, because we have some guys at the front of this pack here who do not have a victory on this season. So you see that hunger, you see that drive out of these drivers to see who's going to pick up that first victory of the season. All these guys want it. We spoke to Chris Darling on the Countdown to Green show here. He feels like he can take a few victories here at the end and take home that championship. It is possible, Mike.
We're looking at 44.8.
Whoa, big kind of let go of the 93 there. Stan Hausman coming around 4. Now, who's that coming up on the outside there? Is that a lapped car there, Mike, on the outside? That big, bright yellow car?
That is not. That is Garrett in the 7. He is running P6 at the moment. Bringing that Chevy Camaro up towards the front.
You're about 8 laps. Go ahead.
He is up 5 spots from the start, while the 24 of Ben Mashburn is up 6 spots from the start.
They are both racing for that Taz Racing Customs Tasmanian Devil, biggest mover of the race there. We are seeing Stan Hausman really work the back bumper of Ben Mashburn here. We are 9 laps in here at iRacing SuperSpeedway, live on 10-4 Broadcasting. We might have a change for the lead. Oh, and Stan gets a little loose coming around that corner, that same corner that gave him trouble the previous lap. So it's going to leave Ben Mashburn all by himself on that backstretch. As you see Garrett Gleason in that 7 car, you can't miss him. He's got an arrow pointing to the front, and that's where he is heading right now. He is cruising all by himself, looking like Lightning McQueen out there, cha-ching, trying to get that victory. He is trying to pass that pack that has dominated this race of Chris Darling and Joshua Sobel up at the top as we are 10 laps in of this race here at the iRacing SuperSpeedway. We take a look inside of Garrett Gleason there in the 7 car. Like in the purple gloves there and the arrow on the hood pointing forward. And Mike, what are some of the things that these guys have to kind of keep in mind, keep in the back of their heads here at iRacing SuperSpeedway? I know it's a different track, but what are the kind of things, if you're on your simulator and you're racing in this race, what are the things you're kind of keeping an eye out for? You kind of gotta keep track of.
The one thing is you want to keep track of crashes. As you can see, getting in the corner, they're letting off just a tad bit, just so they don't push up the track. still staying in a draft. That's going to be a lot of the key here this evening. Staying in a draft and not getting any damage.
We're seeing that here as we're taking a look at Garrett Gleason's in-car camera here, brought to you by 10-4 Broadcasting. He is holding it down there. He's a little ways from the front there, but he has shown that he wants to take those middle moves, those outside moves, and get to the front there. As we have a lead change up at the front there, as it seems like Ben Mashburn is our new race leader at the front. Uh-oh. They have come to play. Warriors, come out and play. Chris Darling and Ben Mashburn have linked up at the front, and that does not spell good news for the rest of this field, because it has been deja vu. It has been repeat, Groundhog's Day, any other repeating movie you can reference. They have done this same thing throughout this season. But the strange thing, Mike, neither one of them have a victory on the season.
Oh, no win on the season, which means
Neither
they're
one of them.
chomping at the bits.
Oh, if they are two junkyard dogs wanting a victory, because I'll have to jump back. I don't think Ben picked up the victory last week, and Chris was right there with him, and I think Chris wrecked right at the end as well. So I don't think either one of them has a victory on the season. So they are about the hungriest dogs in this pack, I tell you. As you see, we are 13 laps in here. It is Ben Mashburn as our new race leader. He took over the race lead from his karate partner, his samurai, Randy Jackson samurai sword buddy, his best friend, Chris Darling, as you see that tandem building up at the top there. But I see some dark horses building up on that outside with Stan Hausman in that 39, and also Garrett Gleason in that 7. Can't miss him in that bright yellow machine. But also a dark horse that we need to keep an eye on as well is that Joshua Sobel in that 56. He is calm, cool, and collected right there in P3, waiting his time to make a move in this race. Mike, I'm seeing a lot of drivers when they come into 1 and 2. A few drivers I've seen it at Stan Hausman, and we actually just saw it at Garrett Gleason there. They get a little loose on entry into 1. Is there something about that corner or something that happens in that corner that causes some of these drivers to get a little loose?
Yeah, it's actually the speed they're entering in. Because of how fast they're entering in the corners, the car is bottoming them out just a tad bit, which gets the car just a little bit squirrely as we see the 07 trying to make a move on the outside, and it's getting help from behind. But that 7 car to 93, they were in the back. There they come. How about that? The 07 and the 39. Oh, as we have a little incident behind.
We might have our first caution of the race here. We see a car spinning out. Oh, and that is Nathan Maurer in that 971 car. Curious to see if we see a caution. Looks like he is just solo dolo there. Cue up the Kid Cudi there, because he is all by himself in that accident. So keep an eye out to see if he can come back up here. We're only 15 laps in, and keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, we are not even halfway through this race here at iRacing SuperSpeedway, and we have seen already a lead change. We've seen guys have big runs. We've seen guys get loose. So I am curious to see what the rest of this race has in store for us, Mike.
Definitely looking forward to it as we go back to the Freed.
And nothing's changed, Mike. It's oh, we might see Joshua Sobel in that 56.
He's looking to go back to the front, and that 7 car is with him. You just need one more car up there. Meanwhile, the 971 has entered the pit lane.
Might be going ahead and using that fast repair, get back into the field and see if he can climb his way back up here as the cars dig down into 1, coming around 2 here. It is still Ben Mashburn. The 24 car is your race leader, with Chris Darling at the 11 right behind him. They are inseparable. each twins, they are separated at the hip. All the cliches you can say because they will dominate this race from start to finish. But I am curious to see who will cross that finish line first as they come down into 3. It is still Ben Mashburn, Chris Darling, 1, 2. But I feel like there's a lot of speed on the outside lane there with Joshua Sobel and Garrett Gleason in that 7 car.
I think that 3 car in the back is sitting quiet, waiting for the right moment to jump. He's been sitting back there all race. Meanwhile, the 78 is in pit lane. It's like getting its fast repair.
And that is Doug Neal in that 78. He was involved in that incident with Nathan Maurer there just a little while ago. But Nathan Maurer, I think, took the brunt of that hit into the outside wall there. But there is no change at the lead, ladies and gentlemen. 18 laps in here at iRacing SuperSpeedway. We are bringing you the Max Graphix SuperSpeedway series. These are the drivers out of the National Sim Racing Association. We are crossing the line with 19 laps into this race, and it's Ben Mashburn and Chris Darling still holding it down 1, 2, and it looks like they are starting to pull away with a little bit of a car. I think that is the 07 car just filed back in, so that might not bear well for the rest of the field because I feel like Ben Mashburn and Chris Darling can pull away pretty fast if they keep this pace.
Oh, looks like we have somebody blinking there a tad bit.
As the 86 car gets left out on Revis Island out there all by himself, is still Ben Mashburn and Chris Darling 1, 2 as they cross the line 20 laps into this Max Graphix SuperSpeedway series here at iRacing SuperSpeedway. And Mike, I wanted to ask you, as an iRacer yourself, what do you think is, when you look at these two guys dominating on the top of the field and you're a racer in this series and you see them always 1, 2, you always see them at the top of the pack, what kind of goes through your mind of what has to be done and what you have to do to take that speed away from them?
Well, seeing as how I run a league myself and get dominated every week, the one thing is you want to do, especially at these super speedways, is luck. As we have people coming down pit road.
And speaking of luck, tomorrow is St. Patrick's Day, so we'll see if anybody has the luck of the Irish here tonight as we see Ben Mashburn making his green flag pit stop here. We were 21 laps and going to be 22 when these boys cross the field again of the 22 laps of 58 here at iRacing SuperSpeedway. And I like to ask you guys always when we see green flag pit stops, what do you, I know we don't see the pit crew jump over the wall and actually change tires and all that good stuff, but what do you have to do? How much time do you have to make these adjustments to make sure you have the right things to go to the finish?
I think, especially at this track, no, it doesn't look like they took tires. About 20 seconds in pit lane, to be exact. So, let's see. I think I've seen 2 more cars in pit lane. Yes, we do. That is the 07 and the 39 now in pit lane. And they are coming to the service of their pit crews. Meanwhile, the 24 back up front. Seven has the lead. New race leader as we have a 2-car breakaway. This field has now opened up, which means it's anybody's game.
It surely has, and we see this every race here at the Max Graphix SuperSpeedway. We see this field get a SuperSpeedway series. We see this field get a little fanned out, and we see everything bunch back up, and we see exciting photo finishes always at the end, and it's always competitive racing out of these drivers here. As we see Burns going to make his green flag pit stop here in that 07. Oh, gets a little loose coming around to try to get in, slow down for that pit stop, and he spins out into that infield grass there all by himself. Probably no caution there. So we shall see how the field is going to fan back out here. 22 laps in at iRacing SuperSpeedway here, and we have seen a couple lead changes already, but Garrett Gleason was a car that has been up at the top of the pack, has worked his way up there, and he is now our race leader as we cross the line 23 laps in here at iRacing SuperSpeedway. And Mike, it has been exciting so far. We've seen a couple lead changes already, a couple cars kind of spin out by themselves. We're looking forward to, I think we're creeping up almost on about halfway here. What do you think is going to change as we hit the halfway mark here?
I think, if we have a caution, not saying we're going to, but it is St. Patrick's Day tomorrow, so who knows? The leaders may not want a caution. 2-car breakaway. We're looking at about a second and a half. Third place and fourth place, third and fourth is close up pretty fast, especially if they have that draft from the lap car in front. But this is going to be a 4-car breakaway.
It really is, Mike, and although it might just be a 4-car breakaway, it is going to be exciting action till the finish, even though Nate Maurer is a lap down. As you see, he kind of pulls out of contention there, and as we're going to see this 4-car tandem stack right up here on the backstretch, and it is the heavyweight dogs of the heavyweight dogs. And Garrett Gleason has been a name that has been consistent all season long, but maybe just under the shadows of Ben Mashburn and Chris Darling throughout the season. But we'll see if he can take home that victory here tonight and keep those boys out of victory lane and make those dogs even hungrier.
Speaking of dogs, look like we're having a new race leader here. Seeing the 7-car, he just clipped the apron just a tad bit.
3 wide!
Back side by side here with Nate Morin at 971, helping the 56 car on the outside while the 11 ducked down to the inside line.
And that was exciting racing there, Mike. I didn't mean to jump in and cut you off, but man, we just went 3 wide on the front stretch as we were creeping up on halfway here at iRacing SuperSpeedway. And we have Garrett Gleason in that 7-car leading him around 4 here with Ben Mashburn right behind him. Chris Darling, a 20-year vet of iRacing here in 3rd. Joshua Sobel, a vet of the National Sim Racing Association in 4th. And that's, I believe, if I can see that, I believe that is Nathan Maurer right behind them. So although he is a lap down, he is still an all-star racer here at the National Sim Racing Association. So look for him to maybe play a key role here in the finish as they're coming around the backstretch here. So, Garrett Gleason gets loose on the backstretch as Ben Mashburn gives him an old Dale Earnhardt shove out of the way. And you see Chris Darling go up the track to try to work with him as he just got loose. As our new race leader, Ben Mashburn, creeps down into 3 with Joshua Sobel in that 56 right behind him. Taking a look at the in-car camera view of Chris Darling here in that 11 car. He is the administrator here at National Sim Racing Association. He is 20 years deep into this iRacing game, ladies and gentlemen. So he is a veteran to talk to about this sport. We had him on our Countdown to Green show here, and he is hungry for that victory. And he feels like if he can start racking up some of those wins, he can take home this championship. And boy, he is putting on the performances every week to do so. Just doesn't cross that finish line first as we take a look at that first person view here from that front bumper of Chris Darling here in the 11. As you see, he is trying to work with Garrett Gleason, maybe even give him another Dale Earnhardt shove out of the way to get to his buddy up at the front there. I believe it is Joshua Sobel in that 56 is our new race leader there, and he has been a guy all race long that has been running up there with all the dogs. He is a veteran of the National Sim Racing Association. I believe it is Ben Mashburn right behind Chris Darling here working on his bumper. So we'll see the boys run single file here until they decide to make some hungry dog moves to take home that victory.
We're hearing 24 just slightly getting off the throttle on entry.
Taking a look at Ben Mashburn here in that 24. This in-car camera view is brought to you by 10-4 Broadcasting. Here we are live every Wednesday at 8:30 Eastern. We do have some big news coming up for the rest of the week. We might be broadcasting a few more races for you, ladies and gentlemen, so stay tuned for that news. Stay tuned for that action. I believe we might be live Saturday night bringing you some more iRacing action out of another series, but let's get back to the action here at the National Sim Racing Association. Is Joshua Sobel, who is a veteran of this league, is leading the way here. It's good to see him back in the field racing with the boys. He is holding it down in that 56 car up at the top. Christopher Darling is right behind him. Ben Mashburn is in P3 right behind him. And Garrett Gleason right behind him as well. And that's where it drops off, Mike, because then we see Stan Hausman in P5. Do you think those guys, P5 and behind, have a realistic chance of catching up to these guys?
Honestly, I don't. The fact that, back coming out of the pits and stuff, third and fourth caught on so fast was because of the lap car, the 971 lap car. They were able to catch on really quick. Every lap that goes by, they're losing about a second and a half on the leaders. They're about 11 and a half seconds back, 12 seconds back. Seventh and eighth are about 25, 27 seconds back. I don't see it, to be honest with you. I think this is definitely going to be a four-car battle for the win.
We're seeing it, but Garrett Gleason, he is kind of bringing up P4 there, and like I said, Nate Moore might be a lap down, but he is definitely playing a role in this four-car tandem up there. You see him filing back in, filing back out, so he is doing his due diligence to make sure he plays a role in this finish here, because he is our points leader here through 8 weeks here at the Max Graphix Superspeedway series here, and it is Joshua Sobel, our race leader, leading him around the corner here, coming down the front stretch, and he's in that 56 machine. It is good to see him back in this series racing with the boys, but he has some power right behind him and Christopher Darling and Ben Mashburn as we are 32 laps into this race here of 58 laps at iRacing SuperSpeedway. We have seen lead changes, we've seen wrecks, we've seen everything but a caution, Mike, and do you think it's coming?
I don't know. I think if something happens in this lead pack, I think there will be. As we're catching up another lap car, Doug Neal in at 78. This is definitely going to be a game changer for these leaders.
As you see Ben Mashburn get a little antsy on the wheel there, he wants to make that move. He is sick of riding in that John C. Riley spot. He wants to do the bacon instead of the shaking. He wants to make the move to take the lead from Joshua Sobel. He wants to pick up his first victory of the season as well. I know those guys love working together and they love being teammates, but one of them has to pick up a victory at some point here. Whoa, as you see Christopher Darling get really loose on entry there, and that's something you had mentioned, Mike, about that's the entry speed you got to watch out for.
Yes, definitely. As you see, you hear in the in-car audio, everybody bottoming them out a little bit, but they're also letting off on entry just a tad bit, and you can get that little bump from behind and it'll shoot you off the track. Especially if these guys did not take tires on the pit stop.
No tires, and no caution yet here at iRacing SuperSpeedway. There's no flaws in this race at all so far. It has been a really competitive race here at the front of the pack here. It's been a four-car race. I'd say the whole race here. Garrett Gleason's been up there. Christopher Darling's been up there. Ben Mashburn's been up there. Joshua Sobel's been up there as well. So you're really seeing the same cars kind of dominate this track. And we shall see who wants to take that victory, because we're seeing the boys get a little bit more antsy on that wheel as laps kind of rack up here. We are less than 25 laps to go here at iRacing SuperSpeedway in this Max Graphix SuperSpeedway series. We are week 8 into the series. Nathan Maurer is our series leader right now, but this might change after this race because he is in P10 a lap down. So if one of these guys could pick up a victory here, it might put themselves in prime position, as we are less than 24 laps to go, and it is Joshua Sobel leading him down into one.
I know we're doing a battle up front here, but I want to give a shout out to those guys in the back. Seeing 86, he was up there leading early on before pit stops, but after a cycle of pit stops and a different strategy, definitely caught him off guard. Also the 93 we've seen again earlier, definitely had a couple lead lap appearances in the front. But again, strategy just didn't pay off. Show the 07, the 3, and the 39 all working together, trying to build that speed. As you can see, the pack behind them, 6 cars in the lead pack, while we have 3 here.
And these boys are really hoping for a caution there to file everything back up. But if we don't see one, we're going to cross the line with less than 22 laps to go here at iRacing SuperSpeedway. And this is what you get out of the Max Graphix SuperSpeedway series. You get really fast, really competitive racing. These races are done in less than an hour because these boys keep it clean, they keep it competitive, and they race fast. As you see, Doug Neal goes down pit road there. I believe that is Doug Neal going down for a pit stop here. I believe that was one of the cars that was caught up in an earlier incident with Nathan Maurer there. No caution on that. And we have seen no cautions yet with less than 22 laps to go here as Joshua Sobel leads them down into 1 coming around 2 with Ben Mashburn right on his bumper. So we'll see if that tandem can hold the way here. Less than 22 laps to go here. We appreciate everybody for tuning in to 10-4 Broadcasting. We are live every Wednesday bringing you the Max Graphix SuperSpeedway series. We also have a few more races on our schedule here if you'd like to tune in, if you're liking what you're seeing so far. But it has been Joshua Sobel, Ben Mashburn, and Christopher Darling has dominated this whole race here, Mike, I would say. And Garrett Gleason in that 7 as you see the leaders come down to pit road again.
I'm guessing they do have a small fuel tank. Let's see, are they going to take tires, or are we going to do gas and go?
I would say right now, with less than 20 laps to go, I'd say just gas and go. Right now, my point of emphasis is getting back on the track as fast as possible because you don't want to get fanned out. As you were just mentioning with Wyatt there, he got fanned out, and it wasn't because of bad racing. It's just he decided to go one way, the leaders went another, and he got left out in the dust there. But I think the quickest way to getting back onto the track here would be the fastest route to victory for me.
And the 56 still on pit lane. Well, everybody is taking off.
That is Joshua Sobel there, a veteran of the National Sim Racing Association here. He is having some trouble there in pit road, and it's going to cost him a lot of time here. As you see, the seconds start to add up there as he is starting to pull away from the leader. He might get lapped there on pit road. But as we're taking a look here at the 93 of Stan Hasman, I do want to give a special shout out to Beer Street Journal, who is actually one of our sponsors here at the Max Graphix SuperSpeedway series. Big shout out to them. If you haven't jumped over to their website, definitely do so, man. They do awesome advice on any beers, whiskeys, anything that you should be drinking. Go check them out. I think it was a peanut butter whiskey or some kind of whiskey that Tim was talking about last weekend. So that was an awesome place to go check them out at Beer Street Journal. Go check them out. That's Stan Hasman at 93. Also, for all your veterinarian needs, as Mike showed on the screen there, go check out Brookstone Animal Hospital. I know we all have furry friends and pets that we love and we like to take care of. Go run over to Brookstone Animal Hospital. They're there for all your veterinarian needs. Also, do want to give a shout out to Max Graphix, who is our title sponsor here at the Super Speedway Series, as we are less than 20 laps to go here crossing the line. Can't forget to mention Taz Racing Customs and our Tasmanian Devil biggest mover of the race. It's looking like it's either going to be Burns in that 07 or maybe Ben Mashburn in that 24. So if you want the custom diecast or anything custom racing, go check out Taz Racing Customs there. They are the ones to check out for all your racing custom needs. And you are in the action here. And again, Beer Street Journal is one of our awesome sponsors there. And check out Stan Hasman in that 93. And if you haven't checked out that website, you definitely got to go check that out because that is an awesome website to check out. Back to the action here. It is Burns in that 07 car there, Mike. A guy you can kind of keeping your eye out here the whole race.
Oh yeah, the 07 I think was the underdog coming into this race. We've seen again on pit road it was the 24 and the 56. They had an extended pit lane sit on pit road, so they are now 1 lap down each. So we're looking at 7 cars on the lead lap. Meanwhile, up front here, we've got the 07, 39, and the 3. They have yet to come down pit lane, so they are the leaders. The 7 car, the 11, and the 86, however, have come down pit lane. So we're going to see how long are they going to stay out. Are they hoping for a caution, or are they going to play it safe?
And that is a
Here we
shame there.
go.
They are coming down pit road here. They have to slow down because we saw out of that last lead pack there, the cars were Tokyo drifting down pit road trying to slow down, and that cost them a lap there. So Joshua Sobel is a lap down. Ben Mashburn is now a lap down as well. So it's going to be a big uphill battle for them the rest of the way here. We're going to be less than 17 laps to go here. We're going to have a new leader once everything files back out here as we see this lead pack make pit stops here. We'll see, it is going to be Garrett Gleason in that 7, bright yellow 7 machine. He's creeping up on Ben Mashburn and Joshua Sobel to put them 2 laps down. And man, that would be a big swing from the race these two guys were running just a little while ago.
And that 7 car, so far the biggest mover of the race. Up 10 spots since the start of the race.
He is definitely a contender for that Taz Racing Customs Tasmanian Devil biggest mover of the race here. Garrett Gleason in that 7 car. He has been a really consistent driver here in the Max Graphix Superspeedway series. I'm loving the purple gloves and the bright yellow machine out of him. We were less than 16 laps to go here, ladies and gentlemen, in the Max Graphix Superspeedway series. This is week 8 here at iRacing SuperSpeedway. We have 14 races here in this season. We are coming down to the end of the season, and it is Nathan Maurer as our points champion, but that might change after tonight, ladies and gentlemen, because we might have a repeat winner on the season, or we might have another first-time winner. That'd be 8 weeks in a row we have a first-time winner, Mike.
8 weeks, first-time winner. Don't you just love that? First-time winner.
I love that, but I love these camera views brought to you by 10-4 Broadcasting here as we take a look at Christopher Darling trying to work that back bumper there. He is still in this race, although his best buddy there, Ben Mashburn, has got that lap back, but he is way out of the contention here. He is 45 seconds left as he's just gone a lap down again there, as you see him in the corner of your screen there. We are taking a look at, I believe this is Garrett Gleason in the 7, Mike?
Yes, sir. 7 while the 11 car is trying to get to his bumper. Give him that little bit of a push.
He is pushing. He is working. We are less than 15 laps to go here at iRacing SuperSpeedway. It is Garrett Gleason is your race leader coming around 1 and digging down into 2 onto the backstretch. It is Garrett Gleason with Christopher Darling right behind him, but Christopher Darling is active on the wheel. He is trying to get by Garrett Gleason as quickly as he can and take this race lead back from Garrett Gleason. As they're coming around 3, it's still Garrett Gleason in that 7, Chris Darling in that 11. He is a 20-year vet of iRacing here. He said he came up through the EA Sports racing games and then progressed into iRacing. So it is great to see that consistency out of Chris Darling there. But there's one thing that he does not have on the season, and that is a victory. So we shall see if he can get that first victory of the season and start racking them up to take home that Point Series championship here. But he has got a job to do here, working on the back bumper of Garrett Gleason here. I feel like Garrett's going to really hold on to this lead. It's going to take something really drastic to take this lead out of Garrett Gleason's hands here as they dig down into 1 here. We are less than 13 laps to go.
If I'm not mistaken, you said the 11 car is also looking for his first victory this evening, right?
He is. He is very hungry for that victory because they have run 1, 2. Oh, as you see, he goes to the outside to try to take this lead, and he has his best buddy on the outside waiting for him. Although he is a lap down, he is going to play a pivotal role in this race as you see him get a little loose coming down into 3. It is a 4-car tandem coming down into 4. We have our 1, 2, and then we have 2 lap cars right behind them as well.
3 lap cars. Next car is Jeff Watt. And here looking at about 10 seconds back.
We're really looking at a 2-car drag race here as we take a look at Ben Wyatt and that 86 there. He is, as you said, about 20 seconds, 18 seconds behind the leaders here. So going to really take a caution for the rest of this field here to come back up to the leaders as we take a look at the lead pack here. Garrett Gleason and Christopher Darling. They have found teammates to work with, but we shall see who crosses the finish line first. Oh no, and there goes Ben Mashburn into the wall. Crashes out. He crashes out all by himself. He is going to leave Christopher Darling all by himself up there with Garrett Gleason. Oh my goodness, what a race for Ben Mashburn. It happens to these guys every week, Mike. They run so consistently and it just never pans out for that team. Oh, such a shame out of that. Oh no.
And we've
And
seen,
that
clip that apron.
oh gosh, and he was already running the lap down, so he occurred that pit road penalty and he was trying to work his way back up or at least be a good teammate for Christopher Darling, but man, it's going to be tough for him now to get back up there to his teammate. So we're going to see a two-car race out of Christopher Darling and Garrett Gleason in that 7. And we're going to be less than 10 laps to go here, ladies and gentlemen, at iRacing SuperSpeedway, and this is where the action begins. This is where the dogs eat. Woo.
And I don't know if you noticed during in the pits, the last pit stop, we only seen 2 cars take 2 tires. 2 cars took right side tires while everybody else was definitely fuel only. So definitely these tires are definitely taking a beating. So when you get in that corner, you're definitely going to be losing the back end. As a 24 looks like he has engine has expired.
And Ben Mashburn is totally out of this race, ladies and gentlemen. I am curious to see what he has in store for us next week here, as you see that white smoke puffing out of the back of that engine there. So it looks like his night might be over with. It was another great run out of Ben Mashburn, but just not crossing the finish line in the position that he wants to. Actually going to be coming home P11 there. So quite a disappointing run out of Ben Mashburn there, but not all hope is lost there, as Chris Darling is our race leader coming around the corner here, but he has that bright yellow machine, that 7 with the arrow on the front hood pointing to the front. He is destined for the front, so we shall see which car is going to cross this finish line first. But Mike, these finishes we've seen so far to this Max Graphix Superspeedway series, we might have the leaders crash out, and it might be Wyatt in that. Oh no, as Chris gets really loose on the corner.
I think you're trying to jinx them over here. You're talking about the leaders crashing, and they almost did.
Oh man, got really loose on that corner. He's going to lose a lot of speed as we see Garrett Gleason take over that speed, and he has a couple lapped cars in between him and Christopher Darling now, and that is, I believe that is either Nathan Maurer up there and Joshua Sobel working as basically picks between the leader and the second place car. So it's going to be 2 full cars in between first and second place there, as you see Sobel going to pull off to the outside, and he's going to work with the leaders there as you see he's trying to get up to that bumper there, push the bumper of Nate Maurer there. We're going to be less than 8 laps to go here, ladies and gentlemen. Dig it down into the corner. It's still going to be Garrett Gleason as your race leader. Taking an in-car look here at Christopher Darling here. This in-car camera view is brought to you by 10-4 Broadcasting here. When you cross the line here, we're going to be less than 7 laps to go. It'll be Garrett Gleason in that 7 car crossing the line here with less than 7 laps to go, digging them down into 1. Coming down the backstretch, it's still Garrett Gleason in that 7 there. We apologize, ladies and gentlemen. We usually do interviews with the drivers. We do more of a sponsor read for everybody, but there has been no cautions in this race so far, so we haven't had the opportunity to do that. Get a little caution sponsor shout out there. So big shout out to our sponsors once again. If we haven't done a great job mentioning you, I'm sorry. This action's just been so non-stop. There has been no caution so far in this race, so we haven't got a chance to talk to any of these drivers so far in this race. But do turn into our Countdown to Green show if you want to know a little bit more about these drivers. And man, Garrett Gleason is one of those guys who has held it down all season, and boy, he is really racing for that victory here tonight, Mike.
I think we're gonna see first time winner here, as long as you don't jinx him again. Coming to 5 to go here next lap. Again, 7 car, biggest move of the race, up 10 spots since the start of the race. Christopher Darling was their pole sitter. Can he come back and get that win? As we see lap cars up ahead.
And looking at the point standings here with less than 5 laps to go, Garrett Gleason has 2 top 5s and 2 top 10s on the season. He is currently in 17th position in the point standing. So a victory here tonight, man, that will do wonders for the rest of the season for Garrett Gleason.
Well, definitely first win of your season, and then on top of that, possibly a points lead. Well, better than that.
But we don't want to have the Budweiser or the Bud Light rain down on him just yet, as Christopher Darling in that 11 car is really digging on that back bumper there. Coming around 4 here, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be less than 4 laps to go here at iRacing SuperSpeedway. This race has flown by. When I say flown by, quicker than a G7 jet, because we are less than 4 laps to go here with no cautions, no action across the track other than this high octane action here at the front. Here it is Garrett Gleason and Christopher Darling. We are watching a 2-car race here, something out of Talladega Nights between Ricky Bobby and I can't remember the other guy's name, the French guy, but we are seeing it right here. We might see these drivers jump out and race to the finish if they have to, because it has been that kind of race out of these drivers, out of the National Sim Racing Association here tonight.
Three to go here at the line. 3 laps to go. The 971 looks like it must be a game changer. As we see, the leaders are catching up the lap traffic, and that would be the 39, the 3, and the 07 up front.
Still Garrett Gleason leading them down the backstretch here with Christopher Darling in that 11 car. Right behind him there, Mike, is going to be a shootout for the finish though. But if that move is to come, it has to come on this next lap, or else you are going to run out of laps to make that move, because a caution will end it with 1 to go. So it is time to make that move. It is time to shake and bake. It is time to grab that trophy if you want it. If you want to eat, it's time to eat. Coming around 2 here, it is still Garrett Gleason in that 7. Calm, cool, and collected in the lead. As you see Christopher Darling get a lot of speed there out of the corner, but he wisely shuffles back in right behind Garrett Gleason there in the 7 as they dig down into 3. It is still Garrett Gleason in that 7 with Christopher Darling right behind him. Joshua Sobel is a lapped car behind him, along with Ben Mashburn, also a lapped car behind him, and Nathan Maurer a lap down as well in that bunch, working with those guys. But we are seeing 1-2 at the front of the pack, and we are less than 1 lap to go here. It is the Beer Street Journal last call here. Garrett Gleason is leading them down into 1 here. It is him and Christopher Darling going down into the backstretch. You see Christopher Darling bounce off the door a little bit of Garrett Gleason here. It's going to be, oh, you see Joshua Sobel kind of lean up towards Christopher Darling here. He might get shuffled out of the pack there. Christopher Darling might get shut out of this race here, ladies and gentlemen, by Sobel there in the 56. Garrett Gleason in the 7. He is trying to hold that line there to get to the finish line. We'll see who's going to take home this victory here. It is
The 7.
of Garrett Gleason there. We saw it in the in-car camera view. It looked like the 7 crossed the line right before Christopher Darling there in the 11. So it's going to be Garrett Gleason in that 7 machine picking up the victory here in the Max Graphix Superspeedway Series. He picks up his first victory of the season. Big shout out to him for picking up that victory here tonight, holding off that big dog and Christopher Darling. Man, what a race. No cautions, Mike, no cautions.
I am very surprised. You know, when there's normally no cautions, it normally goes by fast. I am very shocked that there was no caution, especially here at iRacing SuperSpeedway, with the fact that there's no restriction plates. They're traveling almost double the amount of speed they would normally do at Daytona and Talladega. But we've seen that bright yellow 7 car with the arrow pointing to the front, and that's where he went.
He surely did. He kept that bright yellow machine out front this entire race. I never really saw him lose any pace or lose any speed here on the track. And man, what a really solid victory out of Garrett Gleason there in the 7. Like I said, one of the most consistent drivers here in the series, maybe just a little overshadowed over Ben Mashburn and Christopher Darling. But man, he is putting his name in contention for this championship by picking up this victory here tonight at iRacing SuperSpeedway. Big win at it for Garrett there, and I'm looking for big things out of him the rest of the way, Mike.
Yeah, we've seen how fast he was. Started towards the back, and then worked his way up slowly but surely towards the front, and he ended up being there at the end.
And what a race that was, man. That is our 8th different winner here in the Max Graphix Superspeedway series. And gosh, this championship's wide open, Mike. It could be anybody that takes home that prize. But just kind of running through the grid here, we'll take a look at the final results here of the race. If we could pop up the grid there for the viewers, it is going to be Garrett Gleason, as we just mentioned there, taking home the grand prize there, P1. Big win for him there. It's going to be Christopher Darling coming home in P2. Another P2 for Christopher Darling. I know he's really disappointed. I'm looking forward to speaking with him. Dan Hausman actually came from out of nowhere to finish third there. He takes home P3. Going to be Wyatt there in P4, Jason Shu in P5. And Mike, if you wanted to run through the rest of the grid there for the viewers.
P6, George Burns, 42 seconds back. I think the 07 and the 3 and the 39, I think they had a chance towards the start of the race, but those pit stops that the leaders took at the halfway through, it cycled everybody out. P7 is Shane Warbird. P8 is Joshua, and I apologize if I get your last names wrong. Sobel. P9 is Nate Morrow. Doug Neal, P10, and Ben Mashburn round out your P11 finishers.
Man, what a race out of these guys. We saw lead changes, we saw wrecks, but we didn't see any cautions. And man, we saw rocket speed out of these boys here tonight, Mike. And we'll see if we can't catch up with Stan Hausman on pit road. And I think you're catching up with him now. He's coming home P3. Hey Stan, this is Will with 10-4 up in the booth. We got you on pit road there with Mike. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. How you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
How was your race overall this evening?
It was really fun up until that first pit stop. Coming off pit road, I just I'll be honest with you, I had to back off or I was going to get unsafe exit because I almost went up onto the bank. So, and that literally did it. I lost a second and a half, and from that point on, it was just me and Jeff hanging out the rest of the rest of the night.
I seen during the race, that first pit stop was definitely a key pit stop as it did cycle out the whole field.
Yeah, and we had with how big this track is and how fast. I mean, at 240 miles an hour, that's if you make 0.3 of a second mistake on pit road, that's a 2-second mistake that translates out on the racetrack. So, but up front in the beginning, it was a lot of fun, a lot of good, clean racing. People getting runs, heading to the front, going to the back. There were a couple times I'd make a run on the high side from ninth and get all the way up beside Chris for first and kind of rotate again. So it's a fun track. We were talking, Chris and I, about it, and next time we'll make sure we got more people out here for it.
Did you guys take tires towards your pit stops? I've seen during the pit stops, a lot of people didn't take tires. Some took two towards the end. Did you take any tires?
We didn't take any. I think it would have been different if we would have been in the pack the entire time. I think you would have had to have gotten tires on the last pit stop, but with it breaking out and just being in a 2-car draft like Jeff and I was, we weren't really putting all that much on our tires there, so we just kept going fuel wise.
Did you notice the car getting any looser with you guys not taking tires towards the end of the race?
It was a little bit on entry. It was fine in the middle of the corner, and a little bit on exit. So as long as you didn't run the apron, if you were a quarter to a half groove up, you really didn't feel it. But if you tried to run low, you'd get a little bit out on you, but not something that wasn't manageable.
Tim, got any questions for him? Tim is not here. Will?
No, Stan, that was a great race there, man. I think you came out of nowhere finishing P3. Before we let you go here, anybody I know the Beer Street Journal, there was some awesome news that I wanted to get you on the Countdown to Green show to share with us. Maybe if you wanted to talk about that a little bit, and maybe shout out some other sponsors if you wanted to.
Well, no, obviously, first things first, Max Graphics are the league sponsor for here. Simbox does a lot, Doug Neal's group, so big shout outs to them uh, um, for coming on board and supporting the league, not just tonight, but the other nights. You guys for obviously broadcasting this thing, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say a big shout out to BeerStreetJournal.com sponsoring. Coming home third, pretty big deal. So I always appreciate the support Reed and those guys over there give me for this league is and running on iRacing.
Of course, man. And coming on P3 here tonight at iRacing SuperSpeedway. What are you looking forward to next week?
Oh yeah, I think if I'm not mistaken, we're at Monza, and I actually enjoy that track. It's not a point and squirt super speedway, so to speak. I mean, you've got to think ahead because again, you're going 220 miles an hour, but it's rough. It's narrow. I'll be honest with you, I really like it. So I'm looking forward to running it next week.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you taking the time with us here, Stan, and good luck the rest of the way. Congratulations coming home top 3 here tonight.
All right, thanks, guys. I really appreciate you guys and the work that y'all do broadcasting this. Y'all do a great job, so thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. We appreciate it. That was Stan Hausman in that 93 machine coming home P3 here tonight at iRacing SuperSpeedway. Pretty much came out of nowhere, Mike, to finish P3. And know we were keeping an eye on the leaders there, but we didn't kind of miss that pass for that top 3 position there.
Yeah, I think the 93 had a couple runs early on, but again, like you said, pit stops is what cycled them out.
And talking about cycling them out, I know we're going to speak to a driver here that is pretty disappointed in coming home P2 again. But man, what a race it was out of Chris Darling coming home P2 here at iRacing SuperSpeedway. I know you are a little disappointed. We see you with that Kyle Busch smirk on your face, not really happy about this P2 finish here tonight. Kind of take us through, man, another frustrating race. Right? I know P2 shouldn't be frustrating, but for a racer like you, it's got to be, you want that victory.
Well, I definitely want the win, but I'm not too frustrated. Garrett's a good pal. I'm glad he got a win, and I feel like I did everything I could to try and pass him there. I tried to do something silly with about 8 to go. It just didn't work out. I just didn't want to be the leader coming to the end.
Gosh, we've seen that out of every race so far this season. The leader at the end kind of either gets taken out or has bad luck at the end. Did you see that your race kind of came down to a solo race when your buddy Ben Mashburn occurred that speeding penalty there? You kind of had to work without him for a little bit.
Yeah. I knew right when we came down to pit and I saw him and Josh go through the pits, I knew like instantly they were going to be caught speeding because I was pretty close, but I got down in time. I don't know. I wasn't really too worried. I knew it was basically me and Garrett. I knew there's lap cars behind us. We didn't know how they were going to shake out, who they were going to push, but I don't know. That's just part of it. That's a really hard track to get on pit road and stuff. But I don't know. I got lucky. Ben somehow got behind us again and then wrecked himself. That was fun. It was kind of funny.
Oh gosh, yeah, we saw that out of Ben. He got wrecked and flipped off I think it was turn 4 there on the backstretch. Man, I know P2 is a solid finish out of you, man. But do you feel like that victory? I know I ask you every week, but do you feel like that victory's coming? Can you feel it, or is it just like it's okay to come home P2 now?
Nah, we'll get it. We'll get it. It's never okay to finish P2. Okay, we will get a victory at some point. I just don't know when.
Gotcha, man. And before we let you go, and P2's top three, so you're still in prime position there in the points. I know Garrett's gonna make a big leap from P16 in the points, probably up in the top 10 there in the points. Before we let you go, is there anybody you wanted to shout out? Anybody you might have had watching here tonight, or any sponsors that you wanted to give a shout out to?
Big shout out Ben Mashburn. Always count on him to be a good drafting buddy. Even when he's not happy with his own results, he's still always there to push me, or vice versa. Big shout out to Bear Street Journal, Stay Tuned Sports, Taz Racing Customs, Max Graphics, all our sponsors of the league. They all make it go. Don't want to forget about Simbox. There's a couple others in there. Drawing blanks, mine's not working, but I just want to thank everybody that helps out the league in general. And all the guys showed up tonight. It was a pretty fun race. I'm pretty ecstatic about how the race went. I think we went green flag all through and through. So I mean, it was a fun race. Just want to thank everybody for racing and having a good time.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate it, Chris, and congratulations on the top three here tonight. And we look forward to what you have in store for us at Monza next week.
Thanks, guys.
No problem. And that was Christopher Darling. He comes home P2 here tonight. He was on our Countdown to Green show. So if you wanted to know a little bit more about Chris, go ahead and jump over to our Facebook page and get to know him. He is a 20-year vet in iRacing here, so that was a pretty interesting conversation we had with him. But in the meantime, we are catching up with our race leader. And Mike is in victory lane here. It is the champagne is raining down. The Bud Lights, the Budweisers have been cracked open. And it is our champion at iRacing SuperSpeedway, Garrett Gleason. And Mike, you have him in victory lane?
Yes, sir. How's the champagne going treating you right now?
Geez, the last time I had this big of a golden shower, I had to pay a lot of money in Russia, so I'm glad to have it on account of a win.
Now we've seen the last pit stop. A lot of people took right side tires. Did you guys take any tires?
Yeah, we ended up going with right sides there as well. Pit stops were definitely key tonight. Guys were making mistakes on pit road, and certainly if guys like Josh Sobel and Mashburn didn't have their issues, this might have been a different race. I mean, they ended up catching up with us there at the end, but hey, it's better to win no matter what the circumstance than to not win. So we'll go with that.
Is that the first time you took tires in that last pit stop, or did you take tires in the pit stop prior?
You know, I'm trying to enjoy my win here, Mike, and you keep bringing up the past. I want to talk about the future. I want to talk about the win I had. All right, that's all irrelevant at this point. Let's talk about the victory.
Well, that's fair enough. I just was curious if you felt like the track was changing throughout the race to make it looser or tighter, because we've seen other cars get loose, even behind you guys, and basically lose the back end of it. So that's where my question was going for. But moving forward, how much champagne are you gonna drink? And are you ready for next week? I see you have a big arrow on the front of the car. I think you're gonna move forward to the championship lead, aren't you?
So I will take your question seriously here, quick. But we took the right side tires in the last stop. This track definitely has its handling characteristics. A lot of throttle control happens at this place. If you get into the corner and you do not get your entrance nailed, you'll have problems. Saw Mashburn, that happened to him there at the end, where he just pretty much shot up the track. Chris thought about throwing a caution, didn't throw a caution, but it's one of those places like you have to be on your toes every single lap here because you could lose control so quickly. But looking forward to partying with all my friends. I mean, huge field size tonight. I think I had 40 people shaking my hand on victory lane, congratulating me. So that was great. And next week we're putting ourselves in a good points position, and we're gonna have to take that as it comes. I mean, I almost missed tonight's race, to be honest, guys. I was taking a nap after work, and I got a couple text messages. Hey, you're racing tonight. Hey, you're racing tonight. And I scrambled here, and I'm glad I did.
So you're going back to back next week, right?
I don't really want to push it. I think I'm going to settle for about a 17th place finish next week if I can. I'm hoping Chris Darling, he's doing a great job revamping the series. I'm hoping he could get a couple more guys to show up next week. It's a fun time. And I'll try to keep her in the top 20.
Any sponsors you want to thank? I see there's not much sponsors on your car.
Well, I just felt like the Arrow was more helpful than any sponsor might have been, but I just want to give a shout out first and foremost to Max Graphics for sponsoring this series and this league. Chris is a dear friend of mine, and I know he desperately wanted to beat me and steal my thunder, and he just came up a little bit short. But I'm sure he'll get it back when there's like a 30-car field and like 5 NASCAR drivers in the field. He'll wreck me off at 4 for the win. But Max Graphics, Coleman's Care, DRP, Dunn Raceway Park, and all our friends at Total Non-Stop Racing. My friend Mike Tellier for letting me know that I probably should race tonight. And this one means a little bit more to me because this would have been my grandmother's 94th birthday today, and it's a special day. She taught me a lot. And hey, it might have only been 11 car field, but this day being a winning day as far as my life goes, I'll take it.
Definitely a win's a win, no matter how you get it, right?
That's it. I was just hoping I could have dumped somebody off of 4. I'd like a good feud on the message boards and the Discord and the rivalry. Maybe I'll drive up to Chris Darling's house and punch him tomorrow anyway.
Oh, you could celebrate a beer with him.
Sounds good, guys. I appreciate the broadcast and all the love, and maybe we could do this again next week.
Sounds
Of
good.
course.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you. That was Garrett Gleason. He is our race champion here. He takes home the victory here at iRacing SuperSpeedway. He really kept his car up front all night long, worked with the Ben Mashburn, he worked with Joshua Sobel up there, he worked with Chris Darling, and it really was the right place, right time. He picked his moves, he stayed consistent all race, Mike, and man, just a really great race, really good drive. I know he said he made a few comments about the field size, but he, whether it was 10 cars or 40 cars, he kept that car in the lead pack. So what a really great race out of Garrett Gleason, and congratulations to him on the victory here.
Most definitely. I was looking forward to him, early on, bright yellow car at the Arrow. That was going to be a dark horse, seeing as how we had a small field. I think next week, riding off this win, it's definitely momentum going into next week.
Definitely keep the momentum rolling, and he was talking about trying to take it back to back like Drake, but we'll see if he can keep that momentum going as we have our 8th different winner here in the Max Graphix SuperSpeedway series. Next week we are taking on Monza. We are going across the pond to Italy, so get your fancy hats out and get your fancy drinks out because we are going to Italy for next week's race in week 9 here at the Max Graphix SuperSpeedway series. And man, if we could have a 9th different winner, that championship race, that championship chase is going to be something to remember here towards the end. And before we go, we do want to mention our sponsors again before we go. A special shout out to Max Graphics again as our title sponsor here. Beer Street Journal. We spoke to Stan Hausman there. Go check them out for all your beer, whiskey, and alcohol needs. Sounds like that website is really cool to check out. I've been on that website myself and it is awesome. Definitely go check out Brookstone Animal Hospital. We had unfortunately, one of our broadcast partners had one of their family members pass away, and it was an animal friend of theirs. So sad to hear about that, but go check out Brookstone Animal Hospital for all your furry friend needs or pet needs. I'm sure they'll be more than willing to help you out for any needs that you might have there. Definitely go check out Taz Racing Customs as well, because Taz Racing Customs makes custom die-cast racing cars. And I can only assume how hot these things look, because I see all these drivers in these series are now back to selling die-cast cars. So, man, I can only keep an eye out for the hot things that are coming out of Taz Racing Customs with those custom die-cast cars. And I believe that might be it there, Mike. If I'm missing a sponsor, do please let me know, but I do believe I am hitting them all there, Mike. We have hit everything here tonight at iRacing SuperSpeedway. We have been live here at 10-4 broadcasting. We are live every Wednesday night at 8:30 Eastern, bringing you this action here at the Max Graphix SuperSpeedway series. I have been Will. Mike, thank you again for joining us, man, and hopefully you'll be in the booth with us again next week.
Definitely looking forward to it, guys.
Oh man, and hopefully we'll announce some big news for all you fans out there. We're bringing you some more iRacing action here towards the end of the weekend, and we appreciate everyone tuning in here tonight to the Max Graphix SuperSpeedway series, and for everybody tuning in here, again, congratulations to Garrett Gleason, and we appreciate everybody tuning in, and everybody have a great night, have a safe weekend, and stay tuned for more details at a 10-4 broadcasting. Have a great night.